completely ignored by the CERN Turkish government, which is absolutely fascinating. They've just launched another missile attack, this time targeting the UAE, but surprise, surprise, the attack failed miserably. A couple of hours ago, the Ministry of Defense in the UAE said that the UAE air defense systems have detected a missile threat directed towards the country. Kindly follow warnings and updates issued through official channels. The Ministry of Defense clarifies that if any sounds are heard, they are the result of air defense interceptions. The Ministry of Defense affirms its full readiness to respond to any threat and safeguard the UAE's sovereignty, security and stability. Just a generic copy and paste sort of statement by the Emiratis. They've also did say that the Ministry of Defense confirmed that it is on high alert and fully prepared to deal with any threat and to firmly confront anything aimed at undermining the security of the state, thereby ensuring the preservation of its sovereignty, security and stability, and protecting its interests and national capabilities. Similar to the statements from Syria, the interesting thing about this is that the Syrians would say the Israeli attacks would destabilize the region. How? On what ground? Are you just listening to Tucker Carlson's podcast every day? This is just complete chaos. You got a bunch of Shia terrorists in the middle of nowhere in Syria operating, and they're not supposed to be there because al-Shara pushed most of them out. The IDF targets one tiny area full of Shia terrorists, and somehow that destabilizes it. No, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. That's not really how it works. We've seen the same thing in Syria since the early 2010s. We've had a lot of attacks by the US, by Iran, by the Russians, on ISIS and all the other groups. It's fine. Calm down, dear. Take a breath. Everything's okay. It's just the terrorists getting targeted. At the same time as the IRGC launching failed missiles because they actually fell into the water, obviously. Also, launching 2 missiles doesn't really do anything. It costs money. Each missile would cost money, and the Islamic Republic doesn't have enough money at this point. And it's not really to prevent anything. It's not really a preemptive attack. It's literally a waste of time. The only thing you could say is that it's just them testing to make sure that the missile launchers still works. At the same time, you had a bunch of backward idiots from Yemen, the Houthis, also launching an attack on the Saudi forces. This one went hilariously wrong as well. The reason for this is because they launched a couple of missiles and it didn't work effectively. The ballistic missile, they literally launched a ballistic missile, not even just a drone. It crashed seconds after it launched from the Mount Mirab, which is in Yemen's Taiz governorate. This is the video of the missile crashing and burning. It literally hit the mountain. It was launched from there inside Yemen towards Saudi forces, and it landed or crashed in the exact same place only a few seconds later. And some idiots decided to film this and post it online. I mean, can't take these guys serious. Do they count this as a successful launch? Well, at least it took off, I guess. At least it was launched, but it crashed and burned. Stop trying to play with the big boys. Just go back to your caves, play with your fax machines, let the others do their job. But again, it's just the Houthis. They have to do what they have to do. They've been promising us for the past year and a half that they are ready to get involved. And now they seem to be ready. And when they are ready, they hit the mountains, their own mountains. I don't think there have been any casualties in this suicide missile attack. I don't know whatever you can call this, but we will get more information on that. The Israeli Defense Forces are also continuing their military operation in the southern parts of Lebanon to push out the IRGC's Hezbollah branch. And we have this footage of the IDF in the controlled areas of southern Lebanon, they've decided to once again plant more Israeli flags inside the Lebanese territory, which obviously triggers Hezbollah. This is literally Lebanon, and you got the Israeli flags. It triggers Hezbollah because for a very, very long time, for decades, the Hezbollah of Iran have been bragging and boasting about the fact that Lebanon is only safe and protected, I'm guessing from the Zionist regime, because Hezbollah is there. Hezbollah are there to protect it. Nobody else can come in. Nobody else can take it away from the Lebanese side. But now we got a bunch of Israeli flags. So everything's going absolutely perfectly fine for the IRGC's proxies up and down the region. One group of them have lost their own territories, losing it to the Israeli flags. The other guys are launching failed missiles at their own mountains. And the IRGC themselves, even though the UAE is right next to Iran, literally you can swim from Bandar Abbas to Dubai. But somehow their ballistic missiles fell into the sea. It's complete chaos. The level of incompetence that we're getting from the Islamic regimes and by regime and the proxies are hilarious. But this is why they are now targeting Iraq. So the Kurds, the main Kurdish groups, and the IRGC are now creating an alliance. So, because they've realized, the Iraqis have realized, the Kurds in Iraq have realized, now obviously there are different groups, the Kurds in Iraq realize we need to prioritize the Iraqi territory in the eastern parts of Iraq before getting ambitions like, trying to get other territories. So what do? Let's go to Iran and get the Islamic Republic to help the Kurds. This is chaos. So there was an explosion in Soleimaniye in Iraq, near the governor's building. And things from here slightly escalated. This is the footage from earlier on, because the IRGC, they have launched a number of attacks on Erbil in the eastern parts of Iraq. We've also had the Americans and their allies targeting the IRGC there. The Iraqi government, the official Iraqi government, under the pressure by the Americans and, of course, Saudi Arabia and all the others, they have given a deadline to the Islamic Republic of Iran. They've said you have until the end of September to disarm and leave Iraq. Now, the IRGC have a problem with the Iraqis. The Kurds have a problem with the Iraqi government. The enemy of an enemy is my friend. So the Kurds and the IRGC working together, this is the weirdest part of this whole saga, because one thing is quite clear. When you think about the situation in Iraq, the Islamic Republic's Shia proxies, who are now going to be confronting the official Iraqi government, the whole of Iraq. The Prime Minister of Iraq, Ali al-Zaidi, has been told by President Trump to give a deadline, as I said, end of September. But we now know that the IRGC will not disarm. They will not want to leave Iraq. I mean, they don't really have a choice, but they don't want to. But Iraq is a very important area. So we now have the Hezbollah of Iraq, which is obviously the proxy arm, the Khatib Hezbollah of the IRGC, the Shia side, are now threatening the Prime Minister, saying we will get to Baghdad, our patience is running out, and we will take over the whole of Iraq. Now, for the record, the Islamic Republic will not be able to take over Iraq. It's not going to happen. They have a chunk of Iraq, but that's through the proxies, not officially. It's not going to happen. If they want to F around, they're making it a lot easier for the Prime Minister to go with the Americans. The reason for this is because the Iraqi Kurdistan president, Barzani, has had multiple secret conversations, which is now no longer a secret. They have betrayed effectively everybody by going to the Islamic Republic to gain support from the IRGC. The same Kurds that technically should have a problem with the IRGC. This is why you can't trust them. You can't trust them at all. Same group of Kurds that also stole all the weapons that were supposed to be sent to the Iranian population. But Iraq is going to be the next battleground before we get to the main area, which is Tehran, the Islamic Republic. President Trump is shifting the narrative, shifting the rhetoric and the tone again. He's posted this earlier today, a photo of Lindsey Graham saying, Lindsey having fun just a few weeks ago. Check out the hat, President DJT. Of course, in case you can't see the hat, it literally has Make Iran Great Again. It's not really a subtle message, but I think it's supposed to be a subtle message by the president. But it's not that subtle, right? He's once again saying make Iran great again. Instead of, I've said this many times, whenever President Trump says, like he loudly shouts, I will destroy everything, that means he's not actually going to do it. He's just using it as a carrot and sticks, and he's going to put pressure on the enemy. When he's calm, and when he just drops certain things, that's when you know it's going to go boom, boom. And right now, there is no rush for the US military, because the US military operation is going perfectly fine. The blockade of Hormuz is going perfectly well. And actually, we have some updates on that in this report, especially about what's going on inside Iran. And the IRGC are lashing out like a wounded dog. Now, a beautiful dog, but they are desperate. Now, they're still trying their best to come up with some sort of plot to assassinate President Trump. Now, stop trying. It's just not going to happen. You've tried many times. You proved to be incompetent. Stop trying. Go, maybe start easy. Go, I don't know, for the Prime Minister of Iraq. I don't think you can even do that. But they have high ambition.
This bra is so easy to put on. You can even do it with one hand. We understand the little daily struggles. Stiff shoulders, sore arms, tricky back hooks. So we created this easy front Velcro wrap. You can get ready in a blink of an eye. And the straps? This is where the magic happens. Tighten them for lift, shape, and stability when you go out. Loosen them for softness and comfort at home. It adapts instantly, like switching modes. Soft cotton, molded cups, wire-free support, giving back the independence that mature ladies deserve. One bra that adjusts to you.
In advance, at the most senior levels of the various agencies and bodies. Al-Shara, the president of Syria, understands that he cannot operate like the previous Syrian regime, which maintained proxy forces. It's possible that he didn't understand what was going on or didn't know. Now, this is the correct way to make this statement. The Israelis are absolutely spot on to make sure that the world knows, yeah, we had to hit that part of Syria. We were not targeting al-Shara's government. We are targeting the Islamist militia, the same people that al-Shara doesn't like. He's also at war with the same group of people. So they had to basically say, well, benefit of the doubt, al-Shara, because he's busy trying to maintain control in Damascus, he probably didn't know. Now, he probably knew, the knowledge is there, but the capability to attack and fight against all the Islamist enemies is not easy. Al-Shara's Syrian forces, right now, they are fighting against mostly the Shia side. A lot of them have been pushed out. They ran away when Assad fell. But you also have al-Shara's former friends. Some of them who were Al-Qaeda, some of them who were Daesh or ISIS. Those guys also now have a problem with al-Shara and obviously the Syrian government. They want to bring him down. So that war is going on. Then you got massive random issues with some tribes across Syria. And you got the Kurds to deal with. So it's highly likely, obviously, the president of Syria, the interim president, knows the location of some of these proxies, but they're not capable of going and targeting them. So the Israelis did them a favor by going out and clean out some of these terrorists. You need to say thank you. As I said, it's not up to Damascus because Turkey was a little bit upset. Turkey's upset they have to tell the Americans, can you also condemn this? The Americans knew, but the Americans had to pretend that they weren't really fully told. Simple. By Americans, they mean the White House wasn't told. CIA was told, but the White House wasn't told. So technically, the White House could say, yeah, we weren't told, we didn't know about this. President Erdogan is right, yeah, we should condemn this. It's just words. Ignore it, it doesn't matter. The IDF can do whatever they want to defend themselves and obviously the region itself. We have more footage in the dark, so it's mostly the sound of the Israeli Air Force strikes in Idlib in Syria. Yeah, now, this is the most important part of today's live report, ladies and gentlemen. The Islamic Republic have a new plan to assassinate President Trump. Before I explain, I'm going to get a couple of reactions. Dr. Zulan says, Tusi, can I officially call you a Florida man from now on? You can call me whatever you want. Hi from Malta. Dear Maya, says Margarita. EU entities are lying outright on Iran, ignoring the ongoing executions of innocent Iranians, stating that around 500 were killed since February. Well, as long as they're not counting January, I guess, because if they say 500 since January, that will be a complete lie. But the European Union, they have their own problems because there's a lot of IRGC money and Muslim Brotherhood money from Qatar in Europe. Let's just say their hands are tied. That's all I can say. They will collapse. Without Islamist money and backing, the Europeans don't really have the capability. The European Union as a trading bloc is declining faster than Joe Biden's ice cream melting. So this is what you have to deal with when it comes to the EU globalists. Now, back to Iran, the Islamic Republic's new plan. Ladies and gentlemen, the IRGC are now raising money, successfully doing fundraising in order to assassinate President Trump. The Iranian state TV mentioned the amount that they have raised, a huge amount. For the record, they have raised 810 billion riyals, which means it's the equivalent to, you ready? $435. Yeah, $435.
آرزوی مشترک این روزهای همه مردم ایران اینه که ما یه روزی بیایم خبر مرگ ترامپ رو اعلام بکنیم در برنامه که ایشالله به زودی این اتفاق بیفته. امیدوارم این افتخار نصیب من بشه. سوالی داریم از مخاطبان، میخوایم بپرسیم که شما برای قاتل ترامپ چقدر پاداش میدین؟ شما بهمون بگین. عددم واقعی باشه که ما در برنامه میخونیم حتما برای قاتل ترامپ چقدر شما میخوایم پاداش بدین. برازم خیلی باید پاداش هنگفت و زیادی باشه دیگه، واقعی باشه عدداتون دیگه. تا الان 81 میلیون تومان جمع شده برای قاتل ترامپ. آقای دکتر هم روندش کردن 100 میلیون تومان از طرف خودشون گذاشتن رو تو این پویش ما رو همراهی کردن. تا الان 81 میلیون تومان برای کشتن ترامپ شما پاداش
It's not even like $1,000. Like, no, they're just so bad. They are running out of money. Just really? Okay. Why not go back to your original promises? You know, instead of trying to give money because you don't have enough, it's embarrassing. Just tell the people who want to do it, don't worry guys, you're going to get 72 virgins. Just do it. 72 virgins, a golden key to paradise. Right? But they're going to have to clarify that the 72 virgins are in fact 72 virgin goats. And nobody wants that, do they? So I think that's why they can't really go back to their original promise. But the IRGC have different problems. It's not really just them running out of money. It's not just them not having an actual functioning supreme leader. It's not just them not having actual military bases anymore. It's not just them running out of complete economic capabilities. Their own internal forces are in chaos. The IRGC's Basij unit, which is their job is to do a crackdown on the Iranian protesters, well, there is a leaked report from their meeting, IRGC Passage, that reveals that a regime is completely terrified of another nationwide uprising. Now, this report, the credit goes to the Iran Watcher on X, did its digging. There was a meeting in Paktasht, and the officials essentially warned that there is no way we have the capability to fully stop the upcoming unrest and uprising because of the fuel prices going up, because of the inflation, because of lack of governance and basic safety. The uprising is inevitable. Now, one of the problems that they have, and in this meeting in Paktasht, was that they mentioned that one of the fears is the Basij members. So the immortal guard of Iran that led the uprising in January, millions of people took to the streets. They have been online identifying individual Basij members, the IRGC members, exposing them, doxing their personal details, and they've been using, apparently, according to the regime, the enemy, as in the Iranian people, are using AI to obviously use the photos that they take of their IRGC members to find their personal information and release them. And we've had a number of these IRGC guys getting targeted in their own personal homes because their information is out there. So we've had a lot of guerrilla warfare going on late at night by the Immortal Guard. And so the regime is slightly scared. But they have a backup plan. So even if most of their own members refuse to follow orders or get terrified and run away or hide, they still have a huge number of Arab proxies from Iraq. They also have proxies from Afghanistan and Pakistan. They can easily bring them in again to the streets, and those guys will carry out the massacre because those ones definitely don't care about the Iranian people. They've had a number of police officers, security forces, even some of the Basij members in Iran during the uprising, when they were told to do a proper crackdown, they couldn't. They were like, I don't really want to kill everybody. Technically, they're still my citizens, fellow citizens. But if you bring in people from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, they don't care. And they did their job. On the 8th and 9th of January, it was mostly the foreigners that carried out the massacre. They just killed everybody. So they still have that, even if they are struggling with their own technically Iranian members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. But we will go back to the Immortal Guard because there's another huge update coming in from the Immortal Guard under the leadership of Reza Pahlavi. But the Crown Prince aside, as the leader of the opposition, we also have the leader of retards in Iran, the Speaker of Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, who has now declared that the Strait of Hormuz, according to this idiot, Strait of Hormuz will remain closed. For the record, it's not closed, but okay. Until the US naval blockade is lifted. So, I'll get back to that statement. But he said we have other conditions. Our frozen assets should be released, oil sanctions removed, threats and military operations on all fronts end, and all terms of the MOU are fulfilled. So, problem, Mr. Ghalibaf, I fully understand that you personally have a low IQ. But the rest of your regime, I'm sure somebody is smarter than you who could tell you. The Islamic Republic also didn't fulfill the so-called MOU.
I've got my dental implants almost a year ago. This is what I looked like before, and this is what I...
To create disruptions, like a bunch of pirates launching missiles and drones at international ships, but you haven't actually closed it, have you? You don't have anything to close it with. The Americans have closed it from the Gulf of Oman side. So when you say that the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed until the US naval blockade is lifted, yes, that's literally by default the definition. It's closed because of the American blockade. Obviously, if they lift it, it will reopen. But he wants people to think it's closed because of the IRGC. It's not, though. You're just talking nonsense. But these guys keep doubling down on the same set of demand that didn't work last summer in 2025, didn't work in January, February, it didn't work in the latest round of negotiations, because they know there is no way there is going to be a deal. So they're going to have to go with the strategy they came up with recently, which is the only option. Try to stall and buy time and prepare for some sort of invasion of Iran until President Trump leaves office. And I'm pretty sure these guys are mental. I'm pretty sure every night when they do their prayers and they bend over, they get on their knees and get up, bend over, get touched from behind and all that, when they do that 5 times a day, I'm pretty sure they are praying for President Trump to have some sort of heart attack. They are that crazy because they think that's going to work. They think they've got some sort of like power, superpower. They think praying for President Trump to work, Allah is going to listen to them. Yeah, that's not really how it works, but you can keep trying while you bend over. But that's the only option they have. They are preparing for the next move though. So because they can't negotiate, they can't make a deal because it will be a surrender deal. And they can't actually launch a real attack. So they've launched a couple of missiles at the UAE. They fell into the water. They haven't even been brave enough to attack Israel. So what they're doing is use rhetoric. That's all they have. So they made an announcement. They apparently, Tehran has completed the groundwork. Ooh, they've done great work. For a permanent toll system, payment system for all shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. It seems like somebody with Alzheimer's just repeating the same things. It's like Groundhog's Day for retards. It makes no sense why they would make an announcement when they've already made the same announcement weeks ago and months ago. I thought you already completed the groundwork for the payment system. I'm pretty sure you also announced that the payment system is basically ready. At one point, they've also announced that the payment system has been implemented. But the latest breaking news is that the groundwork has been done now. Doesn't matter. How are you going to implement it when you don't have naval assets? You have a bunch of still a few fast boats. The rest of your capabilities is missiles and drones launched